The number one thing I would recommend for any freshman or any like junior transfer who's looking to go off to college for their first year or their junior transfer year, I would recommend, getting out there, getting into the community, finding a small group of friends, a small group of people that you actually trust and can confide in, going to community spaces, to events, and just networking. And then also, as you transition for like December or coming into the summer or any holidays that you may have, please find an internship that you can connect with. Like, look for an internship because most jobs, they're going to want experience, and you need that internship in order to get that experience. So when you graduate, you can immediately hit the ground running, because you need the experience in order to have some of these high qualifying and high paying jobs. So those are some of the things that I would highly recommend first time freshmen and junior transfers. What is good, y'all? It's your boy D-Lou, back at it again with another banger video. I'm glad to be back recording for you guys, and I'm glad to see everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope that your week is going well as well. Your families is doing well, lifestyle, work, all that good stuff is going well for you guys. I just really appreciate everything that you guys do. Thank you for supporting the last video. It really went up. I really thank you for all that. I thank you for you guys just being you. And with this video, I'm coming back with another surprise. I'm going to be talking about what I wish I knew before going to UC Berkeley and giving you guys the inside story of what I went through, what my experiences were, what my give and takes were at UC Berkeley, and which I would have known before going to UC Berkeley. And now that I've graduated, what I wish I would have known now that I'm gone and graduated from UC Berkeley, and what I can pass on to the next generation as they go on to UC Berkeley. And just any other colleges that you guys may go to. Whatever colleges you may go to, drop them down in the comments. Let me know what you guys are representing, what school you guys are representing. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, before we get this started, if you see me looking down, I'm just looking down at my notes on my iPad, so that way I don't get lost and be rambling on in the script. So the first one is the background. So we're gonna start this video from the beginning. So in the beginning, with my lifestyle and how I grew up, originally, even before college, I grew up in a small private Christian school in LA. I'm from Los Angeles, California. So I went to a school that was about maybe 45 minutes to my house. So with that, a small private Christian school, so you obviously know the stigma with private Christian schools, we're on the smaller side. If I can remember, my senior class was, only 12, 15 people. So it was very sheltered and I couldn't really expand my horizons. So when it came to going to UC Berkeley, it was definitely a culture shock. So even before going to UC Berkeley, my lifestyle was a little bit different because coming from a small sheltered Christian household, I was raised a little bit different. I had small inclusive classes, but in exchange for that, the teachers honestly cared about us, and they cared about what we were doing. They cared about our academic excellence. They cared about the students' well-being, and I really do appreciate that. So shout out to my homeschool that I've been rocking with ever since I was 2, because they've had me all the way since preschool, all the way to 12th grade. So I really appreciate them for setting the boundaries, setting the tone for my lifestyle and setting my success. There are a lot of teachers that saw me through some very good times and some very bad times. So shout out to the teachers. You guys know who you guys are. And shout out to all the friends that I made along the way and the friends who I'm walking with to this day. You guys know who you guys are. And I really love y'all to death. So going on to senior year, it was about senior year around maybe September, October. That's when I got called into the principal's office or the main office, and they're just like, hey, you're in the top 2% of your class, therefore you're encouraged to apply to the top schools in California, so your Cal States and your UCs. So I have to call my dad, and it's funny because my dad thought that I got in trouble. I just remember calling him and I was like, hey, you need to come to the office, and he was like, what did you do? I was like, I didn't do anything. Just come to the office. So when he came in, he just looked at me. He was like, if you got in trouble, it's you and me. But the person in the front desk was just like, no, Mr. Lewis didn't do anything. He actually got a letter from the UC system saying that they recognized him as the top 2% of his class, and we want him to apply to our top schools. So fast forward to college applications, fill out the applications and everything. And I was really dumb for this. So for all of my people who are in high school right now, make sure you guys do your research on schools that you want to go to. Don't just pick any random school that you see on the list, because that was the mistake that I made. I believe I applied for the Cal States. I only applied for Cal State LA and San Diego State. I wish I could have applied for more, because one school that I really wanted to, that in retrospect I should have applied to, was Cal State Long Beach and maybe Cal State Fullerton and Cal State Sacramento. But hey, the Lord has many different ways that He wants us to operate in, and He called me to go to my UC applications. I believe I applied for UC Berkeley, UC Merced, UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine, and UCLA. So I got into Cal State LA, I got into Cal State San Diego. That's my dad's alma mater. So I got into those, but from what I remember from the UCs, I believe UC Irvine put me on the wait list. UCLA flat out rejected me. UC Santa Barbara rejected me at the time. Merced accepted me, Davis accepted me, and then I got put on Berkeley for the wait list for there, but ultimately I got accepted in the UC Berkeley. But this was before, so the backstory is with this was that I didn't know I was going to get into UC Berkeley at the time, so my options were either UC Merced, but Davis hasn't come in, so I accepted Merced, the SIR or whatever that was called, and we took a tour up to it, and I was not feeling it, y'all. My parents could literally tell that he was like, hey, he's not feeling it, but the good news is he could transfer in about 2 years. So if you do your time and get your credits for college credits and do good as whatever university you can transfer to another university if you're liking, if you have enough credits and you have a good GPA. So I was thinking hey, maybe I do 2 years here and then I could transfer to a UCLA or UC Berkeley or Irvine or something, So give it to about April. April came, and then I went to UC. I was applying and waiting back for my waitlist responses. I got into UC Davis, so immediately when I got into UC Davis, I was just okay, scrap that. I'm not going to UC Merced. Davis it is. Cancel the SIR and then book UC Davis. But then literally a day after, I remember I was in theater rehearsal, and I'll do a whole story time about my theater experiences, because that's one of my hidden talents that I do, so maybe you guys would be interested in that, and I'll give you another video on that. So I remember I was in theater rehearsal, and then I get an email from my UC Berkeley portal, and I looked at it, and they're like, oh shoot, it's my decision letter. And I remember they was like, okay, open it. So open it, took a deep breath, and I just remember just saying, Lord, if it be in your will, let your will be done. I opened it, and then the page reloaded, and all I remember was that I was just screaming, and I said I got in, and busted out the classroom. It was the funniest thing ever. I believe we were either 5 or 4 days away from the play, and they were just come back, Donnie, we need you. We need you, So I just came back and I was like, oh, I got in. So I blasted at everyone being like, hey, I got in UC Berkeley. Donnie's coming to UC Berkeley, cool. And my brother, he was on campus at the time, and he was graduating from UC Berkeley. So I told him, and he instantly put me in connection with some people at UC Berkeley. I believe some of his residents. So he put me in connection with them. He introduced me to their black at Cal community chats. And for all my African American brothers and sisters, my black brothers and sisters here, thing number one that you should definitely do before going off to college, find your network before you go to UC Berkeley. So what that may look like for you is find the group chats that all the black students are looking at, or whatever identifying race that you're looking at, connect with them. So that way you can find some sense of home and identity and some type of camaraderie before you go on campus. And that way it'll feel less isolating and less daunting before you go on campus. So I just remember really feeling excited about that, really thanking God and praising God, because without, on my own, they probably would have flat out denied me. But by grace through faith, and when preparation meets opportunity, there's an explosion of success. You all really believe that there's power in life and death in the tongue. So what you speak is what you give and what you get out there in the world. So speak positivity and life into your daily beings and everything that you do. So I just remember that. I started networking. I started meeting some friends, kind of just applying for scholarships, kind of just trying to meet people and kind of establish my basis and foundation before going on to UC Berkeley. So we went up to my brother's black graduation at UC Berkeley. I got to meet some of his friends, kind of experience the campus for myself and kind of just see what student life looked like at UC Berkeley, so I could kind of get a feel of it before I came down there in the fall. So kind of just researching and scouting out the campus, which I highly suggest that you guys do for all my high school seniors and college freshmen. Go to the school that you're interested in, go kind of get a lay of the land, talk to some of the students up there, see how they like it, branch out and just, because this is going to be your home for the next 4 years or the next 2 years if you want to transfer, So go out, get the lay of the land, the feel of the land, and do your research before going on campus. See what the local food spots are. See what mode of transportation do they take. Do they have BART? Do they have trains? Do they have buses? Do they have stuff that you can get around in? So find stuff like that, so that way you can know how to get around in the Bay Area, or get around in whatever area you decide to go off to, whether it be a Cal State, whether it be UC, whether it be a predominantly white institution, an Ivy League school, at HBCU, no matter what, just do your research and then you'll be ready to go for that. So graduation came, we graduated. I believe I graduated in the top 3 of my class. So it was a valedictorian, it was the salutatorian, and then it was me. But they gave me an award because they were just because of your high GPA, you were neck and neck with the salutatorian and valedictorian. So we had to acknowledge you for your academic achievements. So they did that, and I think they did a story on I believe ABC News on the channel that night, because our school wasn't threat of closing down because of insufficient funds and lack of financial payment. So I just kind of spoke to my testimony of what my school was to me and how it impacted me, and kind of pleaded and begged with the superintendent and the principal to be whatever you can do, please keep the school open, because it made me who I was up to that time, and I wouldn't know what to do if I were to leave that foundation and environment. So graduation happened, we said our goodbyes, we parted our ways, and then boom, fast forward, we came to about summer, and that's when I started reaching out to my college dorm mates and finding who my college dorm mates would be. So I lived on UC Berkeley's Afro floor, and that was in Unit 1 Christian. So I did all that, and then I believe the Afro floor was a place for black students to have a home to come to at the end of the day, because UC Berkeley's student population is 33,000 people or something like that, and the black student population is only 1.92% or 2.12% and 2.2%, and might have gone up in the years, but I really don't know, but it's somewhere around there. But I wanted to live in the Afro Fort because it ultimately was a place that allowed me to find camaraderie and community, and to come home and have a community of people that look just like me, that I can come home to and just share my experiences with and have laughs and just build bonds with and get myself established if I was going to stay at UC Berkeley for the long term. So reach out to my dorm mates and to my suite mates. One of my suite mates I really rock to with this day, shout out to him. He showed me hella love when I came to UC Berkeley, and we've been rocking ever since. So reached out to him and we got connected, shared IGs and kind of just did that. So I would highly recommend finding your roommates and just kind of talking to them over the summer break and getting them established with who you are, connecting, and then see if you guys mesh. Because if you don't, you can establish a room transfer or a suite or a roommate transfer, but that obviously takes time and that's a lot of work on the RAs. So be cautious with that, but that's a last word resolution if you guys want to do that, but at that point, yeah. So I remember came around August, it was freshmen moving for orientation, came up, and then some of the Black Greeks came on campus and just helped me move in. They were really warm and welcome. They met me at my car, they unloaded my car, helped me bring my stuff up to my room, because I think I was the first one to get on Afro for that day. and they helped me unload and just helped me like have a warm welcome to the community, and just kind of gave me the push to go out there, meet people, network, and just get your feet wet and get your feet damp in that community, you know? And I really appreciate them for that, because they were kind of the push to be like, hey, you need to get out there and establish a name for yourself, you know? So go ahead and go do that. So try to find like identifying communities that like you may resonate with. And with me at that time, I had resonated heavily with the Black community. So I was heavily involved on that Afro floor. I definitely was around like the African American Student Development Center and the Fannie Lou Hamer Black Resource Center. That was kind of like our student hub, to where we had all of our events, we had all of our resources, and just a place where Black students could come together and just have camaraderie and shared space. Because at UC Berkeley, it wasn't a lot of space for us Black students to just come together and just be us, you know? So the Fannie Lou Hamer Black Resource Center was a space for us to come together and just share community and have bonds with each other. And they had resources like snacks, they had like blue books, they had ebooks, you know, they had stuff like that, tissues, medicines, drinks, some foods, and some programming to where they could, you know, have programming for students to just come out and just chill out in the community center, whether it's a break between classes, or they have Afro floor seminars, or just stuff like that, just a community hangout spot. So definitely find stuff like that, you know, Black like community resource student resource centers on your campus, so that way you have a place to study, you have a place to meet up with friends, to talk, to chop it up with people and get work done, or just a place to hang out with people, you know? So that was a big thing that I wish I knew in my college years, which I did know, but I didn't hang out there a lot because I was definitely busy. And one thing that I for sure wish I would have known was that your freshman year, don't overbook yourself. It's not going to do you any well, because if you're being loaded for like 16 to 18 to 20 units, you're only burning out yourself, and then that you're not going to succeed academically unless you can handle that amount of weight and pressure, you know? So don't overbook yourself, and that goes with like clubs and organizations too, because there's this really big stigma where it's like you need to be in everything, but that's not really the case. That's a good thing to have on your resume, sure, but if you're being overbooked and you're burnt out, and then you just don't have the capacity to go on, what help is it going to do you in the long run? Sure, it may look good on your resume at the time, but ultimately you're not doing your mental health any favors by overbooking yourself, and then your productivity is gonna suffer in the meantime, and your academics is gonna suffer in the meantime. So I would just suggest find maybe 1 or 2 or 3 if you can handle it, 1 to 2 to 3 clubs that you really want to be in, or just kind of scout out. You don't even have to join your freshman year, but find those clubs, attend their like events, and then that full year, your freshman year is supposed to scout out everything. It isn't supposed to be like, oh, I'm trying to join everything from the get-go. Just scout it out, and then your sophomore year, that's when you can join. You can join and you can get involved with like, you know, the Black Student Union. You know, if you're interested in Greek life, you can join that. If you want to be a part of the Black Student Union or the Black Student Resource Center, or just any resource center on campus, or like, you know, business organizations, engineering, Nigerian Student Association, whatever you identify with or whatever you feel gravitated to, go and join that. But just your first year, just be chill, kind of get a lay of the land, see what the orgs are all about, and just enjoy yourself and have fun, because you are here and you just got here. So you're going to be there for 4 years or so. So just vibe and just chill out, you know? Just vibe and just chill out. And then for classes. Don't overbook yourself with classes. Maybe take about, maybe 14, 15, 16 units. I would recommend, for me, I took about maybe 13 units, 14 units or so. But if you can handle bigger capacities, know your limits. I would say that. Know your limits from the get-go, so that way you can manage yourself easily and not be overbooked and be stressed with finals. And then that way, you know, plan out your schedule, your calendar, so that way, you know, you have breaks where you just have breaks to like go get food, go chop it up with friends, because that's definitely needed. You need to break up the dichotomy of just studying, class. Just have breaks where you just have breaks and have like a planned schedule to where like, oh, it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., wake up, go to class, you know, 10, 11, go take a break, you know, get a coffee, get a snack, get a smoothie, walk around campus, you know, enjoy the scenery. or go to lunch and then just go along and follow your schedule. So just do that and then you should be fine. And then also what I wish I knew is that you could plan your own schedule in college, you know? So it's not like a planned schedule where it's like, oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You could literally plan it to where it's like, oh, I have classes on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or I have classes on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then discussions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then you have no class on Friday. So wishing I knew that before I got there, instead of just finding out right when you hit the floor, it could have made life a lot easier, and just do that and like, you know, manageable during that time. And yeah, I would just say that. And from the last one, I would say too is just the parties too. So if you're like, the party scene is definitely different. I can only speak from my experience. The party scene, at least for me, it was mostly like predominantly white parties, so like white frat parties. I definitely didn't vibe with that. I was not an attendee of those. I mostly stuck to like parties that happened in the Black community and the Latinx community when we partied there. So like, you know, whatever parties I was hosted by the D9, as far as like the Alphas, the Qs, Kappas, you know, stuff like that. That's where you could have found me. So knowing like your scene and like if you party, cool. You know, just find which party style is your type of vibe. The Black parties are typically where, you know, it's like the most turn stuff, so go there and just see whichever one fits you, you know? Whichever one fits you and whichever one fits your personality and character. Make sure you look good, you know, dress nice, smell nice, pop a breath mint, mouthwash, you know. Just dress to impress, and then always remember, like, consent is a thing. Remember, yes means yes, no means no. So if a girl tells you yes, you know, like if you're trying to dance with her, yes. But if she says no, back up and just leave it alone, you know? But because that is a thing too, but like people don't know if you're like, oh, people like, oh, you know, if she says no, that means yes. Like, no, yes means yes, no means no. Leave it at that. Consent is a real thing, and careful about that. So there are many things I want to go on about, but I don't want to ramble on too long. So whatever video ideas that you may have for me, let me know down in the comments and below. And I really wanted to just elaborate on this because I just graduated from UC Berkeley and I have a lot of experience as far as like, you know, what to look for college campuses, you know, what to look out for, do's and don'ts, you know, talking to your professors, talking to your GSIs, talking to like, you know, keeping up with that. So get an F or get a D close to a C, so that way you can pass it and not have to retake that class again. So I can obviously do more, you know, videos talking about that, or just anything that you guys may want to hear, or just my personal life. So if you have any video suggestions for me, drop them down in the comments below. And I really enjoy you guys for tuning in to this video. Again, it's your boy D. Lou. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We refer it to a friend so that we can all grow together. And until then, may the Lord bless and keep you. D. Lou signing out.